Ebro In The Morning, Peter Rosenberg, and Lauren got fired. Now, I knew the firings were coming. I know Miss Jonesy, she is a very good friend of mine, was laid off. I know that came out of nowhere for her. Ed Lover, I had been known about him. They let him go like months ago, quietly. And when it comes to Ebro and them, it's because the landscape of not radio has changed. Radio is still very popular. People like it because it's free. You know, Spotify, you got to pay. YouTube Music, you got to pay. Apple Music, you got to pay. And then, you know, they mix the conversation in. And people don't want to be running down their battery and stuff while they're on the phone. So they put on the radio. It is still very much popular. Okay. And so when Ebro In The Morning got fired, a lot of people were celebrating, you know, and they were like, that's what you get. And I know the reason why they got fired is because of their political views. Some of them we can't even share here on the show to back up what I'm saying, in case they want to come out here and say that I'm lying. But I mean, they had an open live prayer on the radio praying for Gaza. Like, this is morning radio, guys, and y'all are supposed to be doing entertainment news. And I get that you guys want to take a stance because he looks Jewish. But for the most part, like, you know, this is not what you were hired for. And they felt like.
And they're right. They were not hired for this. What I call this is victimhood radio. And it's not just Ebro and these clowns. It's also the Breakfast Club and these other syndicated shows. And what they do daily is they remind Black people that you are less than, that you are a victim, that you are oppressed, that you are pathetic. They remind you that you need to never forget that you should be insecure about the color of your skin and how you looked when you were born. So basically, you should be ashamed of your parents. But they also want to make sure you never forget to be inferior to other people. And when I say they, I mean their own fellow Black people. They literally make sure that they get on these radios and they remind their Black audiences that they are inferior, they are less than, and they are victims. They never talk about how they victimize other people and the crime in their neighborhoods and amongst their own personal demographic. They don't talk about the crime and the music. They don't talk about the violence and the culture and just their nature in general. It's always them being a victim, but they never want to admit that they victimize themselves. And then someone puts a camera and a microphone in front of them, and now they can make music and monetize bragging about crime and victimizing others, while also pretending to be the victim. The jig is up. We're not doing it anymore. We're tired of the victimhood propaganda. We're tired of you, soon as there's a confrontation, whether it's over a parking spot, whether you're at the airport, racism, right? We're tired of it. DEI bullshit. We're tired of it. Forced integration. We're tired of it. These people are highly unpleasant. They're difficult to work with because they've been enabled, never held accountable. You know, Tasha K, she's doing this. This is her video, right? Shout out to Tasha K. You know, she said some extremely terrible things about some artists that I like. Some of my favorite artists, I've heard her say some things about. So I didn't necessarily watch a lot of her content. But you know what? From what I have digested from her, you know what I've noticed? Her, even as a Black woman, I've never heard her say she's a victim. I've never heard her say that she can't do this and she can't do that because of the white man and a white person stopping her and she's so oppressed. I've never heard it. But you got these people that make six-figure salaries, get on the radio and cry victimhood, cry about slavery, cry about Jim Crow. We are in the year of our Lord 2025. And these people remind people that they should be victims 24/7. And it's over. You get on the radio, you're going to have the same president for the next several years. And based on the results we're already getting and the fact that all the illegals are being removed, you're going to have another conservative president, hopefully indefinitely. What are you going to do? Sit here and cry about it the whole time and complain about it? People want positivity. When they get on the radio, when they listen to the radio, they want to relax. They want to listen to music. They want to enjoy themselves. They don't want to hear about your political leanings, which basically just show how you feel so sorry for yourself. Do you listen to these people? I try not to, but you turn them on accident, you pass by the Breakfast Club on YouTube. Crazy, look at me. If I'm telling you I passed by that show on accident, that means I don't want to watch it. Well, is that good for advertisers? Is that good for the station that people like me refuse to even watch that fucking slop, that victimhood bullshit? We're not victims because of how we look and our skin colors. The only people that victimize us are people that look like us. So spare me with all the anti-Trump bullshit. Oh, let's pray. Don't get me wrong. Everybody prayed for Gaza, but it's not your job to sit on the radio and make people feel like shit, depressed and sad, bringing down your mood. We want to hear music to raise us up. We want to feel inspired to go out into the day and face the world. We don't want to be reminded that 100 years ago, maybe somebody ran over your grandmother's foot with a horse and buggy, and maybe they owe you some money. Man, nobody wants to hear that bullshit. It's not entertaining and it's counterproductive. You live in a society where there are people from over 190 different countries that come to the United States, but we have one group that only talks about racism and one group that always talks about how they're the victims. So everybody else is just better than you, but you've been here longer than the rest of us, but yet we're above you. But that's our fault, and that's the system's fault. It's nothing to do with you. It's not your behavior. It's not your character. It's not your work ethic. It's not your culture. It's everything and everyone else. Maybe you guys are the real Jews. Now that I think about it, it lines up, right? Slavery, Holocaust. Is it not all the same, just crutches? But see, you guys don't just use these crutches to stand up. You actually take the crutch, you grab it by the bottom, and you beat the hell out of the rest of us with it. We're tired of it. No, if you're unpleasant, I don't have to be forced to work with you anymore. We got rid of the DEI and the ESG scores. So I can hire based on merit, professionalism, and if you're going to be a good fit for the company. It's not going to be based on what you do with your genitals at night or the color of your skin, which you had no control over when you were born. Those days are over. I'm so glad. So Ebro is getting dropped, and I hope they don't renew or do anything with the Breakfast Club. Think about it. They keep platforming a guy named Dr. Umar. He literally robbed people for millions of dollars, pretending to build some black school that would never going to happen. For one thing, it's illegal to have an all race-based school anyway. But he takes all everybody's money. Nobody black cares, because what does he do for them in exchange for their money? They pay him to insult white people on the radio and on TV, on podcasts. That's all they do. Black people love Dr. Umar, not because he builds schools for black kids, but because he insults white women and he makes fun of black men who date white women. That's how low IQ and low hanging the fruit is that impresses you on these shows. That's what they do. He's like a Jasmine Crockett with a penis. He just sits around and insults Trump and insults white people. And the sea lion, they invite him on the show. And yeah, come on in. Tell me again what you said about the white women. Snow bunnies, what you call them? Snow lizards in the... Fucking ridiculous. Sitting up here saying a bunch of racist shit on the radio. See, I'm not on the radio. I don't have any sponsors. I'm just a guy. But I guess I'm the new radio, right? See, I never got used. See, these people are going to have a rough time transitioning from being employees of these stations to trying to start a podcast or a show. It's going to take an investment. It's going to be an out-of-pocket investment. And then it's going to take time to generate an audience and start generating some kind of revenue, because a lot of people don't like them anyway. We were just forced to deal with them because they were already on the radio. We didn't have a choice. Now people have options. So when it comes time to them to get on here, try to start a podcast, they're not going to follow through with it. For one thing, they got used to getting those checks off the rip. They're employees. They're not used to managing themselves and being their own bosses and telling themselves and being on themselves. They had people to do everything for them. They just showed up. They don't know the rest of the sides of this business. So they're not going to do well. The only person I've seen make that transition successfully, and it took him a while, was Stephen A. Smith. It's not saying it's impossible, but is Stephen A. Smith the victim? No. Does he just sit up and bash white people all day? No. Does he have substance and context? Yes. Look at academics. Does he sit around talking about he's a victim? No. Does he have content? Does he have content? Like, he has a lot of context and he goes into details and talks about different subjects, and he never rolls back to him being a fucking victim. The problem is so many black people have been able to monetize victimhood and fake trauma. Yes, fake trauma. You being traumatized about stories from slavery when you weren't there to witness it, so you don't even know if that shit even happened. The fact that you sit here and you soak in it and you're drenched in it to the point where it traumatizes you in 2025, and you literally are, you're imagining it. You used to be a slave too, running the Underground Railroad and all that bullshit, like on Roots, all those fake stories. You're traumatized by fake stories. So it's hard for you to function in society. It's going to be hard for you to work with anybody. You see other people that are doing well. Do they sit around and pretend to be victims and traumatized? No. But people don't want to trauma bond with you. They don't want to have a pity party. And then to put a pity parties on the radio every day. Bro, I tried listening to Ebro one day. I tried listening to the Breakfast Club. These people make hella good money. And they sit there and talk about how they're just victims and they can't do this, they can't do that. That's like, why would you remain somewhere where you're a victim? If it was really that bad, why wouldn't you have moved to Ghana or Nigeria or another country where you can be free? It's because you're already free and you're just grifting, you're lying for money. People don't respect it anymore. We're over it. We don't want to support it. The trends are getting away from wanting to deal with liberal victimhood politics. And now people want to talk about things that are just more substantive or more positive, more pro-American, more patriotic, or, find a new company to work for and find a new country to live in.
They were the prize. Like how Simone Biles' husband stands in his truth. He says, I am the prize. A lot of dudes feel that way these days. They the prize. They can choose from. It's a big pool of women. I'm with you.
Literally, she's right. And she's saying men are the prize. She's right. There's a pool of women. That's what makes us the prize. Scarcity. That's what generates value for something. Scarcity. If there's an abundance of it, it's not worth anything. But low supply, high demand is how you dictate value. Thank you.
So you better treat me right or I go somewhere else and get a plate. And so Ebro and his team thought they were the prize and did not have a backup plan. So much so that they went live immediately the next day after they were fired. Laura had to clock in from Delta Comfort on the plane. Let's go. It wasn't even first class, child. Let's go. Come on.
Drake DMs Ebro.
Look at.
Die slower. We got some shit for you.
Oh, yeah, because Drake is fair-skinned and his mother's Jewish. So they were always siding with Kendrick Lamar. That catalog Drake couldn't even wipe his ass with Kendrick's catalog. It's nothing compared to Drake's. And these people were literally lying to the world, hyping it up, pretending, because remember, Payola was a thing. That's why Drake sued, because these people are paid to hype up certain artists and to basically suppress other artists, which should be illegal. It should be up to the demand of the consumer. But instead, it was just in the hands of a few of these talking heads and who's going to pay them to do what. And that has to be done away with, because, well, these labels they were just sued and they can be sued again. And more information is coming out. They got to get rid of these people. You got to tie up your loose ends.
Ebro replies, relax. You're salty about losing to Kendrick. You're not mad at me. Love, bro. No, it's a good response. Honestly,
he didn't lose to Kendrick, obviously.
I think
he's not mad. Is on the flight doing the podcast. This is what you call desperation. This is what you call, let's start a podcast so that Netflix will buy us. They had no backup plan. And there's a lot of people in a lot of positions that don't have other means of making money. I just want to, pull out a chair and tell them, welcome to YouTube. This is where this podcast is if you want to watch. Apparently, not only did their show get canceled for their political views and things like that, and also for lower viewership. Don't ever let somebody take power from you and then you have to run to work the next day to try to scramble and she live from a Delta seat on a podcast that you want us to take serious, and then you expose Drake DMs to go viral. Meanwhile, your partners are getting picked up by Netflix and exclusive deals. So the other day, I put out a tweet concerning the Breakfast Club. Shout out to the Breakfast Club, though. They slid me some information because they wanted me to put it out so that they can announce, because, they're good with pulling stunts, with iHeart not renewing their contract, okay?
What? That is huge. Now, Ebro's been on for 13 years. I believe the Breakfast Club's been on for longer than that on iHeartRadio. It made Charlamagne the God a household name, even though he's a raging bisexual, liberal black man who is also a victim and a part of every sexuality, lots of weird issues. And they hate Trump. They can never tell you why. And I can only assume it's because they're paid to. When someone asks me, why don't you like this person? If I tell them, let's talk about it later, and I can never give them an answer, that means I'm not thinking for myself. That means that's like one of the lowest beings you can be, that you cannot think. You're like some NPC. You're just a drone and you just follow orders. I can explain myself. I can explain my rationale behind any decisions or any opinions that I have. They cannot, which makes them shallow and hollow. It's entertaining when they get into arguments and fights on there and the ghetto stuff. Jess Hilarious was funnier when she was on her own, but recently there were scandals with her being thirsty, trying to sleep with certain men, or certain men after they slept with her, they left her alone, and she's begging. And yeah, she's insecure about her skin color as well. And even though other women that are black too, but they're fair skinned, she blames it on colorism, why they're being picked instead of her. Then she's pregnant, but she's not married. So she's meeting every single stereotype at her age. Envy's involved with a, mortgage fraud and real estate scam situation that he's also on the hook for that. People associate him with that. And even if he's not in jail or anything right now, I mean, I don't know if it's civil or criminal, but I know that he's in the crosshair. He was dealing with some dude named Caesar, I believe. And he was promoting what Caesar was doing with scamming people. So there's a lot of issues with the Breakfast Club. So I can understand why iHeartRadio might want to cut them. Also, going forward, do you really want to be going up against the majority of the country? The majority of the country gave liberalism and Democrat society a try. We didn't want it. We rejected it. We don't like it. We don't like trans kids. We don't want to see gay kids. We don't want to see mutilated kids. We don't want to see illegals taking our jobs. And these people will never speak out against any of the worst things happening in this country. They're actually in favor of that. Actually, they're in favor of anything that'll help destroy and bring down the country. That's why everything they have to say is just so negative all the time. Just imagine having a pity party every day, and then you think these people are going to grow up and be able to function in society? Hell no. Hell no. Why do you think there's so many people being fired right now? You can't work with them because they're groomed to be miserable. So I'm extremely happy to see that they're now being removed from the air.
And so we got it. We posted it. It came from them. It helped to get the conversation going, because when I post stuff, they always like to see me as the adversary. And I was very new.
Yeah, the one world government thing is boring. We won't be one mixed race. I don't want a one world government. I want my country to stay in the hands of patriots, not globalists, not Klaus Schwab, not the World Economic Forum. We're not going to be a part of the Paris climate bullshit. You see all the climate stuff is over with and done. We're not going to be a part of the World Health Organization, where there's some group trying to convince you to take drugs that give you cancer and kill you. Believing any of that science in the first place was bad. It's just that you didn't have a voice. Well, now you do. We can get on the internet and talk to each other, or we can go out in person and talk to each other, because now we have public speaking practice. I believe, like, when I sit here and talk to you guys and I'm on this camera, I got a microphone, whatever. This is me public. This is public speaking practice, because I have to have these conversations with people in public. You never know. I might not want to run for something, but people might want to elect me for something. But before you consider electing me, I have a body of work now that I have thousands of hours of and thousands of videos on the internet where you can go and just listen to my thoughts on any single topic. By the time I'm done, we won't even need press conferences. Any question a reporter is going to ask me, they'll just be able to look up on one of my profiles, and they can, and literally I answer every question. There's literally segments of me talking about every subject, including this one. So there's going to be more people that can fight back and resist what's coming by just talking and learning how to say no. I wish more of you would have said no to the vaccine, but that's another part of this equation I was going to bring up. Their target demographic is Black people. That's the only people that watch the Breakfast Club at Ebro and the slop, right? The Black population was only 13%. The Black population is now 10% and falling. There is no replacing each other by getting married and having kids. A lot of them took the vaccine. They're not coming back. They're gone. And the ones who survive are gay. So they're not having kids anyway. So there's no point in keeping around personalities that are targeting a diminishing audience that won't exist in just a few short years. You're better off changing the trajectory of your station, becoming more in line with what the majority wants to hear and what we support. That way you can increase the odds of your station's longevity, because right now they're on a crash course with extinction. And not just the station, the people too. But it was destined. If you only knew, if you look up right now how many abortions this community has had since 1970, you'll understand what I'm saying right now. You combine that with violence, you combine abortion with violence, with vaccination, and with, no familial culture, no culture of getting married and being a family. That's been removed because, well, even on this show, I've seen people say getting married and having a family, those are hallmarks of white supremacy. These people are the ones who told your child 10 years ago to hate white supremacy. So now your child is a teenager and gay. And you were wondering where this came from. It wasn't you. Well, look who you let them listen to.
With that post, I was just like, do y'all want to see the Breakfast Club stay, or do you want to see them go? And it was very mixed reviews. More people said they wanted to see them stay. They only watched because of Charlamagne, and I did specify that they were not renewing Charlamagne's position. Okay. And so they did make a show about it. Jess Hilarious was on the show, and you could tell that she was just all not feeling this. Like, y'all laughing about us not having jobs when I had to move to New York. I have 2 kids. I have a family. And now y'all talking about exclusive podcast deals. And
no, if you had a family, you have a husband too. You chose to not have a father for your children. You chose not to be a wife, because having a husband and getting married and having kids with your husband is white supremacy, according to you. So that's the thing. These people, they victimize themselves. Nobody took her husband from her. She did it to herself. Nobody told her to get into this position. So I can't feel sorry for your decisions. You chose this. You chose this on purpose. Can't feel sorry for that.
You haven't seen her happy about this because there's no reason to be happy about it because it's so new. Now, while a lot of people may think that a Netflix streaming deal is a good deal, I happen to think, because I'm a hater, that it's not. And here's why. I'm just a user.
Personally, I wouldn't do a Netflix streaming deal. I don't care how big or not big my show gets. I have a decent sized audience now. I have just the right amount of people that care about what I'm saying. I'm good here. But on those shows, you're back to just basically being like these people right here that could get fired. You'll have a You have someone above you that would want to curate your content and decide on what you can and cannot say. Those types of restrictions alone would just wouldn't work for me because, well, I'm not good at staying within parameters and boxes in the first place. If I was, then I wouldn't have been kicked off the internet a couple of times over the past 5 years for speaking out against things when I could have just, go along to get along. I chose to go against and ask questions. And that's not always good. But I'm going to let Tasha tell you why a Netflix streaming deal is a bad idea.
YouTube lady that's been in business on YouTube for almost 10 years. I've been sued. I've lost a lot of money. I've also made a lot of money, but, and I have a lot of advertisers, but who am I?
I have only a couple of advertisers and I'm only, I would say 7-8 months in of actually trying to continue to do stuff. And really only since Charlie passed away have I just decided that there's going to be an opening and I need to increase what I'm doing because there's going to be more and more people discouraged to speak out and talk. So I figured there's going to be a bigger opening. Also, everybody that took the vax is passing. So eventually they're going to be gone and someone's going to have to fill those slots. I didn't even take the test. So I guess I'm poised to be in a position where I possibly could do that. So nice to meet you.
I'm not legacy media or anything like that. So what would I know? And so listen, just discount my opinion. I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. The reason I feel like this new Netflix venture exclusive deal is bad for the Breakfast Club, is bad for the iHeart podcasts that are signed under Charlemagne, the Black Effect Network, and all the other podcasts that came with it is because Netflix has zero experience in live streaming. They also have zero experience in podcasting. Now they dominate the movie.
Hey, it's Lily. Thank you. I appreciate it. You read the comments. I don't just focus on just the negative stuff. I appreciate the compliments too. I mean, there's no playbook. I'm just doing whatever. There's nothing really for me to follow. I'm just kind of doing it. And I mean, I do appreciate the words. I appreciate those who take the time to tune in and listen and support. I mean, I'm just glad you guys are here. I mean, at one point in time, I was sitting there talking to an audience and it just kept saying 0. So now when I'm getting on, when I get off and I see that there were thousands of people that tuned in and a lot of people enjoyed it. Of course, you have the naysayers. You're going to have the pedos. You're going to have the trans. You're going to have the people that like kids and the disgruntled gays. They're not going to like me. They don't like me in real life. But the other people who actually agree with what I'm saying, the patriots who are not afraid to say they love their country, they love their home, and they love their people, people of like mind. They like what I'm doing. They like what I'm saying. So, I mean, I'm kind of, making content for us. There's not enough people speaking to us. There's people that speak around us, but no one that wants to talk directly to us because I guess it was just not culturally popular to be a nationalist. I'm not a nationalist socialist, though they have some really good points, if you know what I mean. But I'm just a nationalist, patriot, American. I believe in America first, but I go as far as to say America only. So there are people that agree with that. They didn't know they agreed with it until I explained it to them. And when I say America only, that means putting our interests above those of any foreigner or anybody else on earth. America first means Americans first. I'll be honest. I'm saying we're going to boycott these companies that want to take our money. They want to take our jobs. And instead of giving them to illegals, they're going to give them to robots. Fuck those companies. We're going to boycott them too. Take your technology and go to hell with it. We're not going to let you just streamline and push us out of the workforce so you can give us UBI. Well, then what's the purpose of being an American? I'm against that too. The purpose of being an American is so that you don't have to live off of socialist, communist government programs to survive. You don't need the government to feed you. You control your own destiny. You can work as hard or as much as you want, and you can outwork other people. We're not all equally yoked. That's what they say when they talk about equity. They want everyone to be equally poor. Then I might as well just go back to Cuba. I'm not doing that. So we're going to continue, and we will remain in the hands of patriots. So I talk about that, and I do talk about, you know, geopolitics as well. But this is an American issue. The Breakfast Club is the reason why, in the Breakfast Club at Ebro, this is the reason why there's a such thing as the Black Army, BLAQ Army, that Black and gay coalition that literally attacks and kills white people all around the country right now. They attack you on the internet. This is what helped create them, by telling them that white people are evil and you're inferior to them and they hate you. And this is what they think about. They reinforce that. Nobody did nothing to them. Most of these people never even came in contact with a white person who wasn't a teacher or their dentist in their entire life. It's these shows, they program you to feel less than, to hate your president, to hate your country, to hate yourself, to hate your own skin. And they're paid handsomely to do it. It's just not popular anymore because, well, for one thing, their population is disappearing. So there's no one for them to preach to. There's no one to listen. I'm Cuban. Just because I'm dark, victimhood doesn't work on me because it's not real. I lived in this country most of my life. If racism and oppression was real, I would have felt it. I'm darker than a lot of these fucking people screaming. I'm darker than Colin Kaepernick. I'm darker than Angela Rye. I'm darker than all these other people. But yet magically racism and oppression and all that bullshit, it passes me. I'm just like, shit, am I just the luckiest person on earth? It's because you have to be asleep for it to work. You have to close your eyes and imagine it for it to be real. It's not real. Shit, I remember somebody who watches these shows, I seen today, he shared some crazy, super disgusting racist propaganda. I mean, the crazy part is this. I can actually play it on YouTube because if you're saying racist, evil stuff about white people, it's allowed. You just can't say racist, evil stuff about nobody else. But if it's about white people, they'll amplify it. They might put me in the algorithm so deep, I might be up there with Sean Hannity, or might be up there if I just play one video that just talks bad about white people. They amplify it. So I seen that they put that out there, and it's a person who they love all this black stuff. And it says, 150 years ago, white people were raiding the tombs of all the pharaohs and they ate the mummies. Bro, when I tell you there's hundreds of black people in the comments like, I knew it. I know they eat mummies. And I'm sitting here like, this is why you can't work here no more. This is why you got fired. You're a psycho. But your insecurity about your skin color and your inferiority complex, it translates into eventually anger and resentment. Now we're fighting in our own country. We both speak English. We both know the lay of the land. But you hate me based on your skin color, and you assume that I hate you based on your skin color, and I don't even know you fucking exist. I don't even care. I get up and go to work. I don't give a damn that you live in your neighborhood. You guys do what you do. It have nothing to do with me. So that's why a lot of this stuff has to go. I was going to actually play the video about the mummies. If you guys, if enough people ask me in any of the comments, I'm going to check all the pages. If anyone asks me to show them that video, I'll play it. But you can just see the kind of disgusting flop or slob or whatever disgusting trash. If you want to see what kind of trash that these people on these shows are pretty much spreading to black people every day, even with their guests, I'll show you. But see, you don't watch this type of programming because you're not black, so you don't understand what they're ingesting 24 hours a day. That's the reason why they don't understand the laws and why they talk a certain way and why there's so many problems. They're groomed like that by each other, and I'm glad these programs that have been destroying them mentally are just being done away with. I'm excited about it.
The TV shows and things like that, because that's what we know them for. But when you're trying to enter a new realm, you're buying up Warner Brothers, podcasts, and you're trying to make yourself a major player because you're trying to compete with Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, iTunes, everybody. It's like they're trying to knock out the entire competition, but they have zero experience in doing that on a platform that is mainly known for movies and TV shows.
Personally, I'll eventually be on iTunes and these other platforms. Right now I'm on 8 platforms right now, but I'm more net based. But eventually I'll be on those other ones and people will be able to subscribe to me and I'll make this more of a serious full-time thing. I have a show that I'm doing. I have a, like, it's like a dating show. I have this other show, a foodie show. I do take travel stuff, but I'm going to always make sure that I keep a microphone and a camera and I can sit here and go over the news and talk about topics with you guys, because this is important. This is like my base, but I'm eventually going to expand out, of course. I mean, I've already been doing it. This is actually doing this is a part of my expansion. So I'm going to keep going.
Going to cause a very catastrophic, major disconnect between these viewers, because iHeartRadio is free. They'll be in the unemployment line soon. Moving on. Rounded up in a...
Yeah. Like she's basically making a point that they're not cut out for the instability of working on your own and dealing with your own platform. It sounds good at first, but once they start tapping into their savings, they're going to be looking for other employment. They're not going to stick it out. This is what Dame Dash warned them about, is that one day another man can walk into your office and fire you and tell you in front of your son that you need to go find somewhere else to work. They can just kick you off the air. And these are personalities. If they would have just focused on themselves, they could have just built themselves up by now. But the thing is, a lot of these people know they don't really have any talent. Their only talent is finding clever ways to insult white people on behalf of their black audience. And that's not really a skill. If you're a comedian, that's how a lot of comedians make money. But I mean, for a person that's a talk show personality, it's just not going to work, because especially with a diminishing black audience that's dying off by the hour. So it's just, they now have the stomach for it. Tasha K's right. She's versatile enough, and she deals with people that are of different backgrounds, so she can stay afloat. And she knows what she's talking about. So I'm glad she's giving some advice and giving us these updates. I'll be back on in about 30 minutes with another topic. I'll see you guys again shortly. Remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.